Thank you for that introduction. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad to see we have a lot of faces here. Let's hope this meeting runs smooth. We're going to get through all the speeches, and we're going to have a good time. Without further ado, I would like to call on the Toastmaster, Alyssa, to get us started today.
She's not here. No.
I'm the volunteer.
Okay. You will be the evaluator too.
Yes, I will.
Is
anybody else?
Yeah, I think you want to be a Toastmaster? You just introduce yourself. This is the Gavel.
Wait, I can do it. You see this Toastmaster introduced grammarian comments, you're just gonna see that. I'm now gonna call on the grammarian to give their
So if I was Toastmaster, I would just say, I would not like to call on the grammarian if I would ever want to choose the roles, and so on and so forth.
I would now like to call up the grammarian Grace to introduce her role.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or dots. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today the word is commit. The definition is to dedicate yourself fully to a course of action, cause, or goal, to make a firm decision and follow through with purpose. An example is, each speaker should commit to practicing if they want to see real progress in their speeches. Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
I'd like to call up the timer Tim to introduce as well.
Thank you. So hello everybody. As the timer for today, I will be timing the meeting and also the table topics and the evaluations. To start off, for table topics, I will be timing them from 1 to 2 minutes, and I will also be having a background on my screen so you can see, hopefully. And it will be a green, yellow, and red background. Here, if you can see this. Okay. Anyways, my background will be green for 1 minute, and it will be yellow for 1 minute 30 and red for 2 minutes. And this will help you to know how much time you're spending on your table topics. The goal is to get to the green, and if you can get to the yellow, you start to know how to wrap up. And when you get to the red, you try to finish up your speaking. And for icebreakers, it will be the same thing with 4 to 6 minutes instead. And speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes, and individual evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. So I'll be keeping track of everybody's time and reporting that at the end of the meeting. And that will be my role. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce the evaluators. The first evaluator for today is Kim.
Thank you for that introduction, Toastmaster. I will be evaluating Isaac's sixth speech, which will be about the effects of social media. I'm going to be evaluating him on his vocal variety and how well he conveys emotion through his speech. Without further ado, I'd like to call Isaac up for his speech.
Thank you for that introduction. And I want to start off the speech with 2 questions. First off, raise your hand if you have any type of social media account, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube even counts. Raise your hand. Majority, well, not as much people as I thought, actually. Now, question number 2. This is a little more of a thoughtful question. What percent of people in the world do you think have some sort of social media account? I'll be taking 3 answers for the first people who raise their hands. Jason.
60%.
Okay. Yeah.
90%.
Alright, Jeremy.
70%.
Very good guesses. As of late 2025, 68.7% of people worldwide have some sort of social media account. And if I were to put that into a number, that would be 5,666,000,000, which is an absurd number to think about considering social media was experimental just 15 years ago. However, it's now become something that majority of us would probably check before we brush our teeth. However, with this in mind, with social media being everywhere, and despite what parents might think about it rotting our brains, social media has multiple effects that could both benefit us and that could worsen our mental health. And how can social media be good for us? How can we use it to be beneficial? What can we do to manage any addictions or to manage any bad habits that we might have with social media? That is what I want to explore today. So let's start off with the positive side. It's not all bad. Social media, despite what a lot of older people say, no shade to Mr. Jason and Miss Anna, it's not all bad at all. Social media is one of the biggest ways to connect with people around the world. Social media can also be used to spread awareness. Like, social media has been used to start businesses. It's been used to spread awareness for different organizations. Social media has even become a business itself. Streamers, YouTubers, influencers, they're generating hundreds of millions of dollars per year by just posting themselves, what they do in their daily lives, and just posting fun content, which is absurd to think about. However, there's also an educational aspect to social media. TikTok might be full of dances and memes, but there are also many lessons. You can learn about science, you can learn about cars. If you somehow wanted to do your makeup but didn't know how, you could search up a YouTube video and you could be looking perfect in 5 minutes. If your car had a flat tire, YouTube tutorial, 5 minutes later you're back on the road, which is crazy to think about. Social media can inspire us, it can teach us, and it makes the world feel small in the best ways. However, with every upside, there's a downside. Social media is addictive, and it is not on purpose. Apps are designed to keep you scrolling because the more time you spend on their app, the more money they get. And the more money they get, that's beneficial to them. Every like, every comment gives your brain a short hit of dopamine. And what that does, what these short hits of dopamine do, is it keeps your brain craving more. Because you don't just want to feel temporary happiness, you want to keep feeling it. So what do? You keep scrolling, you keep liking, you keep commenting, and after that, and once you're in that cycle, it is very hard to get out of it. Most of us, including myself, are guilty of getting into that cycle. That is something that I actually still struggle with. Before you know it, you open your phone just to check something, and it's already been an hour. On top of that, social media creates this weird pressure to always look perfect. Everyone posts their best moments, their vacations, their new cars, their new outfits. But what you don't see is the 20 bad selfies it took to get that perfect shot. That comparison trap seriously messes with how people think of themselves, and especially with younger users. And then there's the mental health aspect. Studies have linked heavy social media use to higher rates of anxiety, depression, poor sleep, and even suicide. That's why it's easy to get yourself wrapped up in online drama and to get yourself wrapped up in stuff. You'll be scrolling your phone at night. You'll find a news story, and it's very easy for time to pass by so fast because you're wrapped in a story. You're wrapped in something bad that happened. I've been on my phone multiple times at night, and I'll look at the clock and it'll say 2, 3 o'clock because it's so easy to just get caught up in something and just zone everything out, which is not good. And let's be honest, it's not just kids, it's not just teens, it can happen to adults too. Everyone wants to be seen, everyone wants to be liked, and everyone wants to be heard. Social media can give us that, but at the cost of face-to-face and real-life interactions. So, if social media has all these bad aspects, how can we use it to our advantage? The answer isn't to delete everything, it's not to go off the grid. The answer the answer is to use it with intention. Think of it like a car. A car can take you amazing places, but if you don't know how to drive responsibly, what are you going to do? You're going to crash. You need to take control. You need to figure out where you're going, and you need to have awareness on how you're doing it. That means setting limits. Maybe only limit yourself to 2 hours a day. Maybe set a limit to only use your app once you've done something productive. For instance, once you've woken up, made your bed, and cleaned your house, then you can use social media. Once you got home and finished your homework, then you can use social media. That way, you're not depriving yourself of entertainment, but you're also not letting the entertainment take complete control over you to where you are unable to function in your day-to-day life. And most importantly, use it for creativity and for connectedness, not comparison. Post your art, post builds, projects, your ideas, comment positive things. Share what you love, not what you think will get likes. Because when you take control, social media can become a tool and not a trap. So to wrap this up, social media is one of the most powerful forces in today's world. It can build communities, you can share knowledge, and you can connect with billions of people. But it can also isolate us, drain our time, distort our views, and reality if we're not careful. Because the truth is, social media isn't going anywhere. The only thing we can control is how we use it. Thank you.
I'll now like to introduce the second evaluator of Horace, but I don't think I'm here. So,
So in Horace's absence, I will be Jason's evaluator today. Jason's title is My Adventure as a Production Supervisor. This speech is gonna be 30 minutes long, but it's gonna be full of golden nuggets, so I hope everybody will pay attention and get a lot out of it. But as the evaluator, I will be evaluating his vocal variety, body movement, and structure of the speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Today I'm going to take you on my adventures as a production supervisor. These three quotes exemplify exactly who and what a production supervisor is and why they're important. John Bassett, the CEO of Bassett Furniture, once said, "You get what you inspect, not what you expect." And that is so true. We can give rules. We can say we've got to be safe, we've got to have perfect quality, we've got to have production. But if we don't have someone on the front lines driving those KPIs, it will not happen. As a production supervisor, the majority of your day is dealing with people. As one famous author said, it's managing people is like riding a bike, but the bike is on fire, and that is so true. If you're not in front of problems as a production supervisor, chaos can erupt at any time. And it's up to you to either eliminate that risk or eliminate that fire before it happens, or mitigate the damage. And as Peter Drucker says, at the end of the day, regardless of the excuses, regardless of the challenges, it's all about results. That's all that matters. You either win or you lose. And what's awesome about being a production supervisor is every day you get a scorecard. Did we meet our production goals while ensuring perfect quality and safety? If we've done that, we were successful. If we were not, we were not successful. Next slide. So my challenge was pretty unique. Up to this point in my career, I had worked in various roles in various industries with some amazing managers. I worked in engineering, I worked in maintenance, and I spent a lot of my time as a maintenance manager with direct reports. At that time, I have had 6 direct reports, 25 indirect reports, and all contractors. So I thought I was an excellent people manager. I was wrong. I was naive. I had a good foundation, but I had lots of gaps, and I was about to go on a lesson that was amazing and really helped define the future of my career. In this role, I would be managing up to 100 production workers. And these were some very unique production workers. Almost all lived in poverty. Most were uneducated. And don't misunderstand, I did not say not intelligent, just lowly educated. Many had struggled in life. Many were felons, and I was their first authority figure. So you can imagine how receptive they were to my directions. But my job was to drive safety, quality, and production and get results out of these people. And what I learned is, with those production workers, there were several awesome workers, but there were some that did not have direction. So despite my challenges, despite my being naive and thinking I was a great people manager, I was about to go on an adventure where I was taught by experts. The company I worked for was S&B Packaging, and the owner, Mr. Jeffrey, and my manager, Mr. Corey, were experts. It's like going to Harvard for operations. They trained me hard. They were committed to my success, and they made it clear with direct communication. But my time there has paid dividends for the future of my career, and I am forever grateful for what they taught me. Next slide. I learned many lessons at S&B, but 3 key lessons stand out. Being in front of problems, paying attention to critical details, and managing people effectively. These decisions I made every day would either make the company money or had the potential to lose the company money. Sometimes lots of money quick. Luckily, I did not make any critical errors, but the opportunities were there. Next slide. So being in front of problems, I'm going to share some examples of the lessons I learned, some through observation, some through coaching, and some through experience. One challenge I had to face was absenteeism in key positions. What's your backup plan? I have 100 production workers, and I'm sending them, first thing in the morning, I send this group to line 1, this group to line 2, this group to line 3. And then I realized my forklift driver for line 6 at that time, line 6 was not there. A few minutes into the shift, I look up, the line is stagnant. Finished goods were at the end of the line, no one to pull them off. Work in progress all down the production line, and I had 13 people standing around idle, costing the company money every minute with no production. I was not in front of that problem. What you've got to do is play game theory. If this line leads out, who am I going to swap them out with? If this forklift driver doesn't show up, what's my plan? You've got to be in front of that. So the day before, when I create the next day's production schedule, from that point forward, I would plan ahead. If this person's out, I'm shifting here, and I would make it work. Because you had to move quick, because the longer they all stand there idle, the more expensive they are, and the less profit we make. I also learned a lesson on the timing of moving people to other lines. If I move them too early or too late, it's expensive. And let me explain how that works. We take lunch at 12 o'clock. If I move them at a predetermined planned event, such as start a shift, break time, or lunchtime, they go to lunch, they come back to a different line, no harm, no foul. It's a smooth transition. But if I know that we're going to finish production on this line at, say, 10 o'clock, and I move them at 10 o'clock, what happens? Well, from 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, they go to the bathroom. They go to the break room. They go talk to their friends. They interrupt the other lines running production. They go everywhere but to work. They finally get to the new line. Then they slowly start. And then one of them remembers, I forgot my purse, or I forgot my hat, or I forgot my jacket. And they go back to that line to get it. So now production's stalled again. And on the way back, they go to the bathroom again, and this one goes to the bathroom, and they go talk to other people. So you've lost a lot of production. And then they finally get started. And then, of course, it's almost lunchtime now, so they start asking, where are we going to lunch at? What's your plans after lunch? And so we really don't get started until they come back from lunch. So what you do is you look at your hourly throughput. If we're making so many units an hour, maybe I pull some workers off that line to delay. If I can delay it another hour, we transition at lunchtime. So before lunch, I tell them, when you come back from lunch, you'll go to line 6. blah, 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 and get it lined out. So the timing to moving people can save you a lot of money. Another lesson I learned the hard way is don't overproduce. A lot of times the company will send the raw material, the company will send you enough raw materials to overproduce, and that's in case you have quality defects or some kind of damage to your raw material. In this particular example, we had a finished goods count of, I'll use an example, 1,000 units. We were making production, we were driving, it was going great. We ran out of a raw material. I went and looked in the raw material section, it wasn't there. But my manager had told me we had plenty of raw material, so I was confused. So I went to the manager and I said, hey, we're out of this part. He said, we shouldn't be. I said, we are. He said, let's go look. And we're walking out there and he said, you're just now finishing this job? You should have been done 2 hours ago. I said, no, we're not even done yet. We had more, because we have different overages of raw materials. This one we ran out, other ones we had extra. Come to find out, I had overproduced for 2 hours, which means the customer got free product. The customer was happy, but we made nothing over that. We paid for that labor. We made an extra 100 and something units for no reason. And we were going to shift from this line to another line, another project. But instead of starting on that line on time, now we're 2 hours behind because we wasted our time over here. So we're behind on this one, we overproduced on this one, and labor went out through the roof. So that was another expensive lesson. Also, paying attention to the critical details is critical. Let's talk about lean manufacturing and ergonomics. So lean manufacturing is where you don't have waste. I don't have to lean way over to get my raw material. You have it close. You're paying for production, you're not paying for travel. So if I have to walk across the room to get my raw material, we have to pay for that labor, but it's not value added. So you bring the material closer to you. You also have the conveyor where your work envelope is at a comfortable height. If I'm having to work like this all day, one, it's a safety risk. Two, my production numbers are going to go down. Even your best workers, if you have poor ergonomics, will slow down because they get tired. If they spend 8 hours, 10 hours doing the same job all day long, right? The muscles get fatigued. They may still make production because they're good workers and they're hard workers and they're strong and healthy, but their production may dip slightly, so you lose revenue, you lose profits. So what you do is throughout the shift, you might change some of the, especially physical positions, you swap the people around and allow them to kind of refresh it. Even though it's very similar jobs, it refreshed them. And our production numbers showed that. So you want to kind of move people around to kill the monotony and give the muscles some time to recover. I also learned how to communicate at a senior level, at a senior manager level. And in this business, we're moving fast. No time for delays. We've got to talk, we've got to communicate, we've got to go. So when you escalate, they want the key information in full, precise, with facts, quantifiable, and you go. And they taught me how to communicate in this way, and that was very valuable because what you'll find as you get in your working careers, communication is a struggle for every company. And then paying attention to intricate customer requirements. Customers have different requirements. They may require a pallet of finished goods, a product to be stacked in a certain pattern. They might require a label to be in the upper left corner or the upper right corner or a placard in a certain location. And they have reasons for that. It may make their operations more efficient. So you've got to understand exactly what the customer wants. Also, some customers want you to give a count of all the residual raw material at the end of the project. They may have leftover raw materials and you give them that information. And they may decide to either recycle it, reuse it, or on future projects, or whatever they decide to do with it. But they want that information. Other customers say, just recycle it, we don't care. And other customers say, keep it, don't count it, just we'll use it later. So they all have different requirements. But if you're wrong in what you make, how you close out your projects, or how you follow those customer details, it could come back to haunt you. One, they could reject your product, or in the case of the raw material, you're paying for labor doing cycle counts that are not necessary. And then the last critical detail, visual management, systems and precise execution. I cannot share this company's production board, but it was amazing. In 30 seconds, you can look at that production board and you can map out the entire day. We can all be on the same page without ever talking to each other. But the key to that is precise execution. If it's color coded, if there's certain symbols that mean certain things, and there's certain ways you've got to document this production board. Precise execution. If you have good information, you can make good decisions. And this production board that I saw was amazing. The perfect snapshot. Next slide. Yeah, let me. Hold on. Then managing people. The most challenging of all. What I learned about people is you cannot fix their flaws. Only they can decide to change. If they have a bad attitude, you cannot fix that. If they have absenteeism problems, you cannot fix that. You can coach them, you can train them, you can wrap them up, you can terminate them, you can promote them, you can do whatever you think you need to do. But at the end of the day, whatever their red flag is, that's who they are, unless they change it. Also, I've learned you need to manage with data. If I walk up to you as a production worker and I say that you're working slow or you're not working hard enough, that's subjective. You're sweating, you may think you're working really hard. That's an argument. But if I come up to you with data and I say, excuse me, ma'am, your production rate is 50%. You can't argue numbers. So always manage with data, because facts and data cannot be argued. Then there's documented pay for skills with quantifiable goals. I've seen so many times a worker get a promotion and go sour and quit. They worked hard to get that promotion. They had great attitude. They worked hard, quality and safety and production, everything you're wanting. And then they get the opportunity and they go sour. And then they eventually quit. I had one individual who became a forklift driver. And he was an awesome worker at the beginning. He came in safe, finding quality defects, jumping off and fixing them. He was hustling. And I wondered to myself, why hasn't this guy found an awesome career at this point? This guy's bounced from job to job, and I could not understand it. This guy was awesome. He told me on day one, I'm a forklift driver, which at our place, the forklift drivers make a little more money. I said, well, great. When the time comes, we'll give you a shot. Well, a few months later, going back to the other example, now my forklift driver did not show up. What was my plan B? This guy. So I went through the safety evaluation with him, and he was right. He was a good forklift driver. He was safe. He was fast. He was really good at driving a forklift. I found my forklift driver. He jumped on it. He done a great job. He was the forklift driver for this production line. Thumbs up and knuckle bumps and all the stuff. He was excited. He made it. Next day, he pulls up to me. He says, how am I doing? I said, well, you're doing great. He said, good. I told you I was a good forklift driver. And I said, you're right. You're awesome. He said, good. He said, when do I get my pay raise? I said, well, I don't know. I said, I'll look into it for you. So that evening, that was on a Friday. That evening, I went to the owner and I said, hey, when does this guy get his pay raise? He's done a really good job with his forklift. And of course, they asked me, when did he start driving a forklift? And I said, yesterday. And he's doing great. He won't know where his money is. The owner said, it's not time yet. He hasn't proven himself. We need him to continue to produce for long term, for a little while longer. I'm going to train him in some other areas, and then he'll get his money. I said, okay. So that Monday, he pulls up to me on his forklift with a smile across his ear to ear, and says, did you talk to him yet Friday? I said, I sure did. I said, you're going to get your money. It's going to be a little bit. He said, well, when? I said, I'm not sure. A month or so. A month or so, that's too long. He said, what more do I got to do? He said, am I being safe? Yeah. Is my quality of work good? Yeah. Am I fast? Yeah. What's the problem? And I said, it's not time. He said, well, when is it time? And we went back and forth with that conversation. And then from that point on, he was sour. No more smiling. And yes, he'd done a decent job, but he was still safe. But he wasn't jumping off to do the extra stuff like catch that quality defect before it come off the line. He didn't care anymore. Y'all can fix that. He was keeping up with the line, but he wasn't doing the extra. He wasn't the same person that day as he was previous to that conversation. And what it is we did not have a documented pay for skills and quantifiable goals. If he'd have known for 3 months, you've got to get this agenda, or this criteria, or for 6 months, another 6 months to this criteria, and your pay raise will go up accordingly. If he'd have had a path in front of him, he may not have went sour, and he may have stayed with us long term. He ended up quitting like two months later, but he was not the same from that point on. Another lesson I learned with people is learn their names. Every day we tell them you're an important part of our team. We're all one family. We're all on one common goal. We're all after one common goal to make this place successful. And you're valuable. That's what they tell us all. But to me, as a production supervisor, if I don't really know your name, hey, you, I appreciate you, whoever you are, that doesn't count. If I can walk up to you and call you by name and tell you I appreciate you, and mean it, by the way, then you'll work harder. Your production goes up because you are engaged and you are part of the team. So my advice for any production supervisor or any senior manager in a company is learn your people's names. It means a lot. That's their favorite word in the world. When you say somebody's name, endorphins go through their brain. Same thing at work. And then my natural management style is I'm a positive person. I like the Dale Carnegie approach. If you've never read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence Others, it's awesome. But that's my natural management style. So I would say in a world of negativity, be positive, but set clear expectations. And that means if they don't meet those expectations, you may coach them for a while, and you may talk to them, and you may train them, put them in position to make the decision. But if they don't decide to change, you make the tough decisions on behalf of the company, because that's what you've got to do. So set clear expectations and don't budge from that line. Okay? But overall, being a production supervisor was a great experience. I became a better people manager. I'm not going to say expert because that would be kind of arrogant, but I did close a lot of gaps. This was a great experience, and probably in one of two places I would say had the biggest impact on my career. Also, since previously I had been a maintenance manager, an engineer most of my career, and even after that, maintenance manager, I got to understand my internal customers' challenges. Because I've always wondered as a maintenance manager or as an engineer, why doesn't production do this? Or why don't the operation teams do that? And now, since I've been in this role, I got to see it. I got to feel the pain points. So it helped me to be a better maintenance manager indirectly. And then it let me see the big picture. Finished goods, on time, out the door. Orders in full, perfect quality while being safe. Yes. And so my challenge to you, one day when you're working, you get a chance to manage people, try to find you a position where you can be a production supervisor. Those challenges are amazing. If you can manage people and you can drive success in safety, quality, and production, manage all those different personalities with different goals and different work ethics and different ideas, it will really boost your career. And for those of you that are already working in other roles, show some appreciation for your production supervisors. They are your frontline warriors who are instrumental in your company's success. They're stressed out, and they face heat from both sides. The workers that they supervise give them pushback, and they have heat from the management team driving production. So show appreciation for your production supervisors because they are critical for your plant's success. And with that, any questions? Perfect, thank you.
I would now like to introduce the table topics master, Mara and
We can do that again, huh? We can do a relay again? Relay, okay, we've done that last week. All right, so you might want to start?
So since our table topics master is not here, we're going to do what we did, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week, the table topics roulette. For those who weren't here last week, pretty much the person who asked the first question, the person who answers a question has to ask another question to someone else. For instance, if I ask Kennedy a question, she'll answer said question, then she'll ask Miss Anna a question. Miss Anna will answer that question, then she might ask Kyle a question, and so on and so forth. It's just randomly picking questions and then answering those questions. So without further ado, who would like to start us off? Alright, I will start. So, my question is for Miss Anna.
You state the question first, so that everybody will think about how to answer it, and then you can call them.
Well, my question is, if you had to lose one of your 5 senses for the rest of your life, which would it be and why? And that question goes to Mr. Jason.
If I had to lose one of my senses, what would it be? I guess I would choose hearing, even though I don't really want to lose any of them, and I'm committed to keeping all of them for the rest of my life. I think if I lose my hearing, yes, I'll lose out on listening to some good music like Alice in Chains, and I can't really watch TV the same way. But at least I can watch TV and put subtitles on, and at least I can see people. I think I can still drive, I can still travel. It would just be kind of lonely in other ways. I would not want to lose feeling, because that could be dangerous. What if I touch something hot and don't know it? Next thing you know, I'm seriously injured because I did not know it. Taste, I love to eat, so I would not want to lose taste. Even though if I lost taste, I could probably eat more vegetables and be healthier. So it might be a side benefit. But one of my favorite hobbies is eating. And when I travel, I like to eat local foods. So New Orleans, for example, their food's amazing. I would hate to know next time I'm in New Orleans that everything's going to be bland. What other senses are there? Hearing, sight, smell. I mean, smell may be all right. Some people stink, right? And I really don't take time to smell flowers anyway, so maybe I would not miss anything there. But then again, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. So maybe I do want to smell flowers, but right now I take it for granted. Or the way the grass smells when it's starting to rain, or something like that. So I guess the point is I would not want to lose any of my senses, but if I had to choose one, hearing would be the one. Thank you, Toastmaster. Okay. Tell us how excited you are to get a new dog. Deanna? Tell us about it.
I'm very excited to get the new dog. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name her yet, but there is a stray dog right in front of my great-grandma's house, and she's a puppy about 9 months old. I think she's a mutt.
Yeah.
And apparently she likes to eat hot dogs. My granddad told me whenever he goes there, he always brings a hot dog and she'll eat it. Since we used to have a dog, but she died, I've always wanted a new dog. Okay. If you could never, would you rather never be able to eat again, or never able to be able to look at your phone again? Abby.
So my question was, would I rather never look at my phone again or never eat again? It's a really hard question. Personally, I really love to try new foods, all different, whether from like Asia or European. I love pasta, I love fried rice. There's so much food and there's so much more that I want to try in the world. But on the other hand, I also really love to look at my phone. I really love to watch and scroll all the time, all day. So if I had to choose one, I think I would have to give up eating. Just
You're gonna die in a week.
just yes, just because I do think that the phone will advance as it's been advancing each year with the new like iPhone 17. And I think if I weren't to die, I would rather, I know that the eating is probably the better choice, but I'd rather commit myself to using my phone for the rest of my life than to eat. Thank you. Oh,
Well, maybe it's like, you never get to eat, but you don't have to.
yeah.
So like you just never have the pleasure of eating. I don't think it's like, would you rather starve to death or not have your phone?
Okay, my question is, something similar to goat yoga, but goat yoga is an activity that people like do yoga with goats. If you had to use another like animal to like do yoga with, what would it be and why? This question goes to Kennedy.
Oh my goodness. So, the question is, what animal would I like to do yoga with besides a goat? First off, I've never heard of goat yoga before. That's a completely new thing. Goat yoga. I don't know how good at yoga goats might be, but I think I can think of a few animals that might be a bit better. First, my dog, Manta. In the morning, he always enjoys to stretch, and he purposefully reaches his paw out and scratches my feet when he does it. Since he stretches so much, I think he would be the perfect partner when it comes to me stretching and doing yoga on my mat. Speaking of my mat, he has put multiple scratches on it and almost broken it with how much he has stretched on my mat when I'm trying to stretch myself. So I think he would be a really good partner. Besides my dog, there's a few other animals who might be stretchy enough to do yoga with me. Possibly some sort of reptile. They love to stretch out and lay in the sun. So why not do it indoors under bright lights that hurt your eyes on a yoga mat? I think any reptile, snakes, lizards, would love to stretch out on a yoga mat with me. But it's very possible that this animal that I might choose might be my only yoga partner for the rest of my life. Because of that, I think I'm going to commit with my stretching buddy Manta and stretch with him. Thank you so much for the question.
Yeah, you have a question.
Oh, shoot, okay. What struggles did you have growing up in school and socializing with your classmates, and how did you overcome them? My question will go to Kyle.
I don't think I had that many issues growing up. Like maybe when you're newborns, like maybe having trouble reading or like doing math. And my trouble was like maybe like interacting, like getting new friends, because like in my opinion, I guess it's not that hard to get friends, but like you have to be like brave enough to like stand up, get your friends, and communicate with them, and get to know them better. But like some people could be mean to you, and a lot of stuff like that. I think that's probably like all my struggles, but I didn't have many struggles when I was young, so yeah. My question. Would you rather it be cold every time you step outside, or rather it be hot every time you step inside your house? Jeremy? So the question was cold every time you what, or hot every time you go inside your house? So cold every time you go outside, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So me, I would choose hot every time I go inside, because actually I might change my choice. I'm gonna change to cold every time I go outside, because if it was hot every time I went inside, it would be like maybe burning hot, I don't know. And that would be very hard to sleep for me. And I'll probably have like zero sleep, and like I'll probably like never grow taller, sadly. Because you need sleep to grow taller, apparently. And also apparently if it's really hot inside of our house, then within minutes, if I had like a really cool drink, and it will melt instantly. No, not instantly, but like within minutes. So like if I went to take a break or something, or if I went to grab something, then the ice in the drink will melt, and that would be sad. And why I wanted it to be cold outside is I'm fine with it being cold outside, because most of the time I do PE outside. I don't really go outside much because I just never get the opportunity to. So yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, which candy is better? Chocolate or normal candy that's not chocolate? I forget this. Let's say candy that's not chocolate.
Wait, like you can't have chocolate in it?
Yeah, chocolate. Which one do you like better, chocolate or candy that does not include chocolate? Yeah.
Oh, like fruit. Chocolate that does not have chocolate. Because chocolate is totally candy. Okay, anyway, I'd rather choose candy that's not chocolate, because I personally don't like chocolate that much. As much as like when I think of candy that's not chocolate, I think of like sour gummy worms. And like I like sour gummy worms, but chocolate sometimes it can just be like too sweet, and I don't like the texture sometimes. Like it just doesn't, it's not right. And then I like chewy things like gummy and other stuff like that. But I don't like Skittles. Like I hate Skittles. Like I've never eaten Skittles. But like some chocolate that I do like is like Twix and Snickers, because it has like peanuts and caramel in it, and it's like good with the crunch. But in general, I like candy that does not include chocolate. And my question is, if you had to, I think I would. Mr. Time, are we on time? Are we short on time?
I mean, it is currently 4:59, so if you,
Do you think we should wrap up?
yeah, wrap up, get to the evaluations would probably be best.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks.
I would now like to introduce the general evaluator, Deanna.
Now looking to this evaluator one, Kennedy.
Thank you for that introduction, General Evaluator. And let me show you, it is a great honor to be judging my own brother's speech. Yes, I can't wait for this. So, his speech was about the effects of social media. But before I start judging him, I want to say there were 3 great general practices that he implemented that I think could be beneficial to anybody who implements them. The first thing is he used questions to engage the audience, and he did this straight off the bat. It's a great way to get the audience roped in to your story and prepare yourself to carry them through your speech with their full attention. The second thing he did is he used a well-researched topic. He didn't just write his speech off from the top of his head, but he actually got statistics to prove the points that he was saying. And that made his speech more compelling in general. And number 3, he made sure his speech supported his point. This is very important for the type of speech that he was making. He was making a point of social media has some good things, some bad things. And each part of his speech contributed to that overall narrative. That's a great thing to keep in mind as you're going with your own speeches. Overall, he had a great speech, but specifically, I'm judging him on his vocals. And I got a little bit of mixed results. First, he had perfect volume, I'd say. I was sitting right next to him, and from there I could tell that he projected well, but he wasn't yelling in my ear. He had a great volume that was able to get to anybody, no matter if he was talking on this side or talking on this side. And that made it sure that the audience could hear every single part of his speech. Just 2 quick recommendations I would give him is to add more vocal variety. He had good vocal variety in his original sentences. Through his sentence, he did a natural vocal variety that made sure that it wasn't just a monotone voice. However, I would recommend him to add some more vocal variety from his points to points. When he's going on a more somber note, like the negative effects on social media, he could slow down his rate of speech instead of his normal variation that he does. And my last recommendation is to pause section to section. Once you're done giving your point, pause and give the audience some time to soak up what you're saying so they can understand what you said before you move on to the next step. This makes it so that they'll remember your speech better and it gets your point across clearer. Overall, he delivered a thoughtful and well-researched speech on a very important topic that is relevant to everybody. And I think with just a bit more practice on a few nitpicky parts, he is well on his way to deliver an absolutely amazing speech. Thank you.
Now looking to his evaluator number 2, Miss Anna.
Thank you, Deanna. Alright, it's my honor to evaluate Jason's speech, my challenge as a production supervisor. I think because I'm at this age, I have enough life experience to understand everything you have just said in your speech. It was a great recap of your work experience, your expertise, what you learned. So there are a lot of golden nuggets in there. From the speech standpoint, you had a great body movement. You looked around, you touched everybody in the classroom, made eye contact with everybody. So that is great. Vocal variety, you did use a very good voice, a strong, well projected. It just lacked a little bit up and down to show the emotion. So that's probably something you can work on. I like the content because that's especially valuable to me as a grown-up who have a working place. But for these young people, they probably don't get everything you said. But I think really depend on what you're trying to do. if you are trying to do the speech in your future workplace, this is a perfect speech. But if you are trying to give a speech to young people, middle schoolers, high schoolers, this might be a bit much. So you can probably break it down to 3 different speeches. Like Kennedy just mentioned, you can pause so that people can soak in all what you said, and then move on to the next topic. So I would suggest you break it down if you are gonna give that speech to a different group of people. But I think the overall speech is wonderful. It is so valuable to me personally. I really appreciate you taking the time, making the slides, do the summary of your knowledge, your expertise. One more thing is that I just feel you are so committed to your development. Everything you have done, you do a recap. You look back, you reflect, and write down your lessons. And I think that's most valuable to everybody here, is whatever you do, take some time to write the lesson you have learned. So thank you so very much to show that aspect to all of us, and that's the most important thing for all of us, I think. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call on the timer, Tim.
Thank you. So for my timers report, I will start off first with all our speeches. And for Isaac's speech, he lasted for 7 minutes and 11 seconds. And for Mr. Jason's speech, he lasted for 21 minutes and 53 seconds. Now moving on to the table topics, we first started off with Mr. Jason with 1 minute 37. Then we went on to Deanna for 1 minute and 8 seconds. Next up, we had Abby for 1 minute 30 seconds. And then we had Kennedy for 1 minute 34 seconds. Then Kyle for 57 seconds. Jeremy for 1 minute 30 seconds. And then we ended with Grace with 47 seconds. And lastly, for our evaluations, we had Kennedy with 2 minute and 58 seconds. And then we ended with Miss Anna for 3 minutes and 9 seconds. And that concludes my timers report. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call on the grammarian, Grace.
To start off, 3 people used the word of the day today, and it was Mr. Jason, Abby, and Kennedy. So to start off the speeches, Isaac had 2 fill words, Mr. Jason had 2 fill words, and table topics, Mr. Jason had 2 fill words, Abby had 1 fill word, Kennedy had 1 fill word, Kyle had 5 fill words, Jeremy had 3 fill words, I had 2 fill words, and for the evaluation, Kennedy had 0 fill words, and Miss Anna also had 0.
So, now I'd like to give you a meeting evaluation. Overall, the meeting was amazing. We started a little late. The 2 speeches today were really good, but about what's it called? My Adventures in Production Supervisor, and Isaac's speech about social media. A lot of people used the word of the day, which is good, and the meeting ran really smooth.